What's your name?
I'm Thomas.
Where do you come from?
I'm from Austria.
Where do you live?
I live in Germany, in Berlin.
What do you do in your life?
I'm a freelance trainer, I'm an activist. Yeah.
What are you doing here?
This week we're organizing a seminar in the countryside in Austria, in a village called Kötschach Mountain. And the seminar is about volunteering in rural areas and how to make volunteering projects better in the countryside, basically. And also how to reach people who live in the countryside to become international volunteers.
What does volunteering mean for you?
Volunteering means to contribute to something good, and to spend free time and to work on something that is according to your values, that changes society for the better, that is fun, and where you can be active in a meaningful way without getting paid.
Would you like to list three main values important for you?
Feminism, global justice, and climate justice.
How was your first approach with volunteering?
I did when I was 19. I myself I come from the countryside, so this seminar relates to that a bit. And I was urgently looking for projects to go abroad, because I was a bit fed up with the village that I was from, and I wanted to have an experience in another country. And I had to do my military service / civil service, because in Austria we still have military conscription for men. And then I wanted to go away, and I found volunteering projects in Iceland, and I went for 2 months to do 3 different volunteering projects in Iceland. Some of them were cleaning up garbage from the beach on a lonely island somewhere in the middle of nowhere. We painted a lighthouse, and we organized community projects, and it was amazing, and it completely changed my life a bit. I became a much more open-minded person through that, so I decided, okay, that's something I want to spend my life more on.
Is there one important learning moment in your learning path that you would like to share?
I think there are a few. I think if it relates to volunteering, for me, big learning paths are justice questions. And it took me a while to realize that most of the people I worked for a volunteering organization, and we sent people abroad to do volunteering projects. And it took me a while to realize that most of the people that we send abroad are students, people with academic backgrounds who maybe come from really well-off middle-class families. And we don't reach most people, and most people are not interested to do these kind of projects. So for me, it was a complete click of, oh wow, the kind of people that I'm reaching, they are not necessarily people who would need this the most. For example, it's usually people who can travel anyways, who have lots of privileges already. So it kind of made me more critical of the people that I did send abroad, and it made me change my approach. So the people that I sent abroad, I wanted to have them to have a more intense process. I wanted them to become more complex thinkers when they did volunteering, and I wanted also to reach new groups that weren't reached yet. So groups that didn't feel represented in this because there was no spaces for them, because our projects were not inclusive enough, because there was no, for example, wheelchair accessible projects, or because there were no projects that people from working class backgrounds were actually interested in or had access to, because of different educational barriers or different just information barriers in general. So this for me was a huge learning point, and a kind of a switch of okay, I want to focus on something else here.
How do you imagine yourself in 5 years?
I'm in the process of founding an NGO together with some friends in Berlin now, and we want to do queer and feminist projects in Berlin. And we're just starting it, and it's super fun. and hopefully in 5 years this organization will be more established and we will have more leverage to do other projects and to exchange with activists from all around Europe around this topic. I would also like to be more involved in, I mean, I mentioned my 3 main values before, so I would also like to be more involved in movements of climate justice and global justice, maybe also start more projects there. So in 5 years, I still see myself kind of what I'm doing now. I'm pretty happy. I just want to be more efficient in it and kind of focus more on doing what I do best, I think, which is coming up with new project ideas, bringing people together. At the moment, I'm doing a lot of administrative work, a lot of like bureaucracy, and I would kind of like to give that to other people and focus more on the starting stuff part and maybe managing and coordinating more.
What does queer mean for you?
Queer means being out of the binary, being out of the gender binary that we are taught in society, whether that means that you don't belong into this gender binary, so that you just don't adhere to these gender roles or to these biological markers that we make up, or you have sexual or romantic attractions to people whom you're not supposed to have, because in heteronormativity we always are supposed to be attracted to the opposite sex in this binary gender system. At the same time, queer for me is a political thing. It means going against the mainstream. It means going against the LGBT plus mainstream in a way as well. It means to be more political. It means to see pride as political and not as just a celebration of nothingness. It means to be in solidarity with other marginalized groups. It means to be critical and resistant.
Have you ever felt discriminated because of these points of view?
Oh yeah, a lot. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the countryside in Austria, and there has been a lot of change in the past years. And nowadays I feel also comfortable in the Austrian countryside with this, or more comfortable. But discrimination has always been a part of my life. I think since I'm a child, I had experiences of being bullied because of that, and then later when I started to have relationships, I was thrown out of cafes or verbally attacked on the street, both in the region that I'm from, but also in Vienna, for example, and even in Berlin, where I live now, which is supposed to be a super queer place, and it really is. There's a lot of resistance to these structures. Even there, sometimes I get discriminated because of it. So, and I also observe it with other people. So, and also I lived in Sweden for 2 years, and also in Sweden is super open-minded to this compared to a lot of other countries. But even there, heteronormativity was so strong, and people always assumed your sexuality was heterosexual, even though they didn't know you. And when they found out, they were surprised, and they made a deal out of it. And yeah, so. But at the same time, I'm a white male from a rich European country. At the same time, I have a lot of privilege, and the discrimination that I experience is much, much less than what other people need to experience. So I'm also very critical of talking about me as a suffering victim or something like this, because I'm really not in comparison to a lot of other people. So I would rather fight for groups that have it worse than me, to be honest, than just white gays who have been thrown out of a cafe a few times.
And what about toxic masculinity?
Yeah, it's a big topic in society. I think we're brought up to, as men, we're brought up to in a way glorify violence. Military conscription in Austria is only for men, because men are supposed to be violent in a way. Like we're brought up with these toys in carnival, for example. All the other boys were always dressed up as Native Americans with bow and arrow, or as policemen with weapons, or there was always some kind of form of power at play, and I always felt really uncomfortable with that. I always was like, I hate weapons, I hate violence. I think it's also a really bad thing for society, this hyper-competitiveness that men need to show, this emotional detachment, this yeah, this negation of care work, not needing to care as much for children as mothers, these kind of things, and also objectifying women, objectifying queer people. Yeah, I think all of this needs to stop, and we need to bring many more men into this fight and make men feminists and make them understand that feminism is what we need and that patriarchy makes also men suffer and makes them less peaceful.
Who is your hero?
Good question. I think I have a few heroes. It depends. I don't think I have one hero. I don't really believe so much in heroes. I think everybody has faults. Of course, there are super impressive people in the world who do amazing stuff. For example, Greta Thunberg. I'm obsessed with her. I sometimes I feel bad for being so obsessed with her. Like I like every single thing that she writes on Instagram, and I just feel like she's doing things that are so needed at the moment in society. The way she talks about the climate crisis is so progressive, and she brings it into the mainstream in such a way that I think is amazing. So maybe her, but also I don't know. There are people in my daily life that I think are heroes in a way. People that I have friendships or relationships with that I find amazing, like the creativity that they have or the bravery that they show when they do activism or when they do things. Yeah.
You are a trainer and facilitator and project manager. Is there an episode that you think can be inspirational? Someone that you met that changed your life, or something that you did for this person that changed his or her or their life?
A lot. I think usually when I'm a trainer, I don't really feel the impact so much in the moment. I only feel it afterwards by what people tell me, and I feel this very strongly when I do projects around gender, especially in these environments where gender is often not a topic, and when I then bring up gender or when I do projects on gender and bring people from different countries together to talk about this, people get really emotional. I think I'm pretty good at creating safer spaces in these kind of projects, and then people start sharing real problems and other people really react to that, and there's a lot of empathy, there's a lot of connection, there's a lot of and a lot of life-changing things, I feel. I myself, I constantly learn from participants. Like I don't like this hierarchy so much. As a trainer, I consider myself more as a facilitator often, and I do more seminars than trainings where I also can learn from participants. And I really like when participants can question my points of view, when I get completely new input. And this happens, in every project in a way, and some of course more than others, but I don't know, for example, 2 years ago, somebody told me about relationship anarchy, the concept in a seminar, and I was completely like, wow, what is that? And I was like, wow, I've never heard about this before, and it completely describes so much that I thought about in my life. Or I'm doing seminars on post-colonial perceptions of volunteering and like colonialism and volunteering, and what kind of input people have given in these seminars is amazing. Like it completely questioned my own view of race, of what it means to be white in a society where we have so massive global inequalities and these things. Yeah, it's super interesting and really amazing. Yeah.
What are you proud of?
I think I'm proud of. I mean, on a personal level, I'm proud of growing up in a way. I'm still growing up. I still don't feel like an adult, and I'm not sure I ever will. I'm almost 30, and I'm slowly reaching a point where I can accept myself and where I can become the person that I want to be, which is a peaceful person, a calm person, but also an activist, but also somebody who takes care of people around them, and also who grows emotionally, who grows in lots of different ways. And then on a maybe more professional level, I'm proud of I think making this my life. Last year I started doing this as a freelancer, and I'm really proud that it works and that I can continue with this and that I can, I guess, be my own boss and do this. Yeah.
Is there a message that you want to give to youth?
Not really. Like I said before, Greta Thunberg is my hero, so I feel like more youth should give me messages. I hope that youth will stay as amazing as they are and challenge adults and people who are older than much more. We should have generational conflicts big time. Youth should go to the streets and rally.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.